Production support for Hot and Cold is brought to you by American Solar Technics, manufacturers of components for wood burning and solar heating systems. Hey, I'm Tom Gozy. Welcome to Hot and Cold. We're making progress. We're doing lots of things. It's almost like I'm just flitting from one job to another, and I've been told that on the job site, but there's reasons. There's a method to my madness. Yes, there is. We got a lot of stuff to look at this week. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, I have got multiple simultaneous projects going on this week, and this one is kind of a fun one. We're putting we're going to tile this whole area here because the chimbley's right there, as we say in Maine, or some people say, I don't. And we're going to tile up to the chimney thimble, and we've got a nice little petite wood stove here. I keep the picture. We've got a very nice Yodel stove coming. It's the smallest one they make. It's going to sit right here on this little hearth we're building, and it will overheat the house. But it'll be nice to have if power goes out to keep the house comfortable. I got the hearth down. The reason I did that was because we wanted to get some tile on here, and we're going with some pretty tile with pictures, but they're not here yet. So that's as far as I've gotten today. The dilemma I have is that I mixed up the thin set and I mixed up too much. So, and I still have a little bit left here, and I can't think of anything else to thin set except for what I just did. Let's go over here and I'll show you what we're up to. Well, the other thing I had to do because I had all this extra thin set was this. I don't know if you remember me telling you we were going to put tile down on the windowsills. This is the front windowsill. It's the deepest one we have. It's almost 12 inches wide. I want to put tile here for a couple of reasons. One, I think it looks really cool. Have I said how much I've loved this tile? This is the granite tile I got at Home Depot. It's $2.97 a square foot. It's one of the best deals in the store as far as I'm concerned. And I didn't have enough to do all the windowsills today because I wasn't planning on doing it until I mixed too much thin set. But I did 3 of the 6 that I have to do. And we've got this set now, and I'm hoping that's where the ladybugs are coming in through here. I don't think it is, because we're still plagued with ladybugs, and they are all over the place. And they will disappear at some point as I continue to make the house tight. But that's done, and I'm pleased about that. There's another tile project. Well, another tile project we need to look at, but let's look at the other thing that's been going on in here. Like I say, a lot of little projects going on all at once coming together, and we're getting close. We're not going to be, don't say you're close to being done, Tom, because you're not, but we are closer than we have been because a lot of this finish-up stuff is happening. Remember I told you last week, and I told you the week before, and probably the week before that, how much I like pine, because this is Maine. We got a lot of pine in this state. The white pine state, as a matter of fact. We trimmed out the front door opening with white pine. Nothing special. Matter of fact, this is number 4 grade pine. I just picked through a little bit and found stuff that would work for me. Didn't have big gaping holes. And it's stuff like this. This is a piece of 1x5, excuse me. And there's some knots missing here. But you know, a lot of this stuff I had to cut back here, cut down. So I cut those out and get 2 pieces out of it for a given area. Very, very inexpensive. Looks great. And I find, and I probably you do too, working with pine very therapeutic. It's very easy, it's very soft wood, and the look is exactly what I want. We've ordered trim to go around this opening. We have special trim coming that's really going to make it look snazzy, as well as around all the windows. And that's going to be here in another week or so. When we get the trim up, oh man, we're going to be closer to being done. But we're not quite there yet because we still have all this sheetrock that needs to be sanded. And boy, isn't that a fun project. Let's go in the other room where we're doing some sanding, because sanding is just a joy. Well, you know, like I say, I love sanding. I have gone through almost every sanding routine because I have a lot of sanding to do here to try to find the one that's the least obtrusive. And the one is fallen into my favor at this point is this. This is a 3M sanding sponge. It's got an abrasive facer. It's got a sponge on the inside. It's really easy to work with, and it's very quick. It pulls off a lot of material very easily. So I like to use it, although I also take my Metabo sander. I'm not going to light this off now because it'll throw dust everywhere, but this is extremely fast and extremely effective. It throws dust everywhere. I haven't quite worked out the routine with the vacuum cleaner yet, and I'm almost done. The kitchen area is going to have a lot of cabinets in it. So there's a lot of places I can cheat. I don't have to, if I have cabinets up here, I don't need to sand that. So tell me that is not a cool thing. I did tape it just to seal the joints, but I'm not going to sand it. You can see here I've got screws I haven't even covered. And I don't care to cover them because you'll never see them unless you take the cabinets down. So that's a wonderful thing. I'm sanding everywhere I need to paint, where it's going to be exposed, whether it's behind a washer, dryer, refrigerator, anything like that. That'll all be painted, and hopefully will be relatively smooth. And that's exactly what we're doing. So from about here up and in both directions, sort of, is wall cabinets. There's going to be a sink here. There'll be a washer and dryer here. And of course, those will move out, so we need to do behind them. There'll be a refrigerator here. We need to do behind that. Over there. The cool thing over here is this is the only area that would normally be exposed, and we're going to tile the backsplash. So we don't even need to sand that. It just has to be relatively smooth, which it is. So from about here over to the doorway is sanded. And from about here over, which is where there's a stove, there'll be cabinets up here. From here over to the window is also sanded. So it's almost ready to paint, not quite. Like I say, I'm flitting around a bit. We are getting some paint on surfaces though. I've set up my tile saw here for cutting the hearth stuff, and then we'll probably do the wall all the way up with the little tiles when they all get here. And then we get this out of here, and we'll get the paint on the walls. In the meantime, I can just paint, work around that, just move it. And we should, if I'm timing it right, get paint on the walls, get tile on the floor on the next TV show. Anyway, we're not done yet. We got to take a break though. So stay with us. We'll be right back. And, oh, there's stuff upstairs. I'm going to go upstairs because we got more to look at. Well, as we head upstairs, just a couple more things. We're getting more wainscoting on the walls. I wasn't thinking I was going to put wainscoting on this wall, but this wall houses all the plumbing, the drain and everything. And it had to be wider than normal. And somewhere along the way, some bozo who put this wall in, it's plumbed back here, but it's not out here. So I tried straightening it out with sheetrock and shimming and stuff, and it still kind of looked funky when I was done. So it was from about here down where you could really visually see it. So the trick of the trade is to hide it with something. I hit it with wainscoting. That bumps everything out and masks the whole problem area. So that's done. Did that the other day. We trimmed out around the doorway. We've got a line here. We were planning on wainscoting at least over to here. We are going to go right up the stairs on both sides of the stairs with wainscoting as well. I love pine, and the more I've thought about this house being right on the coast, we're looking out the window there, there's the ocean. The wainscoting, the wood kind of gives it a nautical feel. And one of the things we're doing, and we're going to do more, I'm not going to tell you what it is yet because it's going to be cool if it looks nice. but we're doing things like this. We have the drain here we have to close in and had to be dropped down. The ceiling used to be dropped anyway. We've done it a little bit differently where we're going to do it all in pine, just continue the ceiling down and wrap it around here, so that'll all be kind of a curved surface of wood, much like you would see in a boat. I don't know, just a whimsical touch is all it is. And it's very easy because, again, we get away from having the sand and do taping. And not that I mind doing the drywall, and if I thought putting pine up was going to diminish the way the house is going to come out, I wouldn't do it. But I think this is going to really be a nice touch. So we're working our way up here. We're actually getting to the end of putting wainscoting on, which is a good thing, which means the house is getting further and further along. Let's go upstairs because there are a few things up there as well. Well, look what we did. We got the vanity top on the vanity, and yesterday I put the backsplash in, or I started to put in the backsplash, and I just noticed in the process I got a lump of epoxy right there, and that's how I remove epoxy when I dribble it on the granite. You can see that's pretty solid stuff. What I did was, actually these are pieces. This here, there's epoxy joint here, was the original two pieces I had. I think I showed you guys when I was explaining the countertop last week. I took that sample piece and zipped it in half on the wet saw and got the two halves for here. Then I cut slots in for the electrical outlets here and here, and then I just cut a little piece to go in the center this morning, and I epoxied that, and I just scraped it down, and I'll sand it down a little bit, and that'll be ready to go. These pieces are, except for this one that's epoxied in, these pieces are all siliconed up where they were already put together. The backsplash was put together. I just used silicone caulk to stick it to the substrate, which is the gypsumite, sheetrock. And now, I don't think it's going to happen today because I'm running out of time, but you never know. I might get there. I have to put the chair rail molding on the top of the wainscoting. What I've done is I've wainscoted to either side of the vanity, and I've kind of locked it in place. It's screwed to the wall, but the wainscoting on either side keeps the vanity from moving anyway. So that's very solid now. The countertop, which is the particle board base with the granite on top, is siliconed to the vanity, and we just have some dollops of silicone here, 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 here. I think there's one in the middle, and that's not going to go anywhere. That's solid, quite rugged. We set the vanity base, the sink in with that came with its own caulk, which is basically just it's an acrylic latex caulk. It's a lot like Phenoseal, which is something, if you know what it is, you know what it is. If you don't, you can find it at most hardware stores. It's just a vinyl-based caulk, and I bedded it in. I got to go over it a little bit more. But now we've got to put the chair rail on the top of the wainscoting like we have it over here, and we're going to work it in on either side. But we're going to do a 90-degree turn, and I'm going to come up this way, and we'll probably come in and cover most of this. We'll probably have to cut a little piece of granite to fit in here. And then this will also go over the top like that to kind of cap it. A lot of times I see people do these kind of installations, whether it's with corian or it's with tile, and they just leave the piece of tile with no trim on the edge. And I really think that kind of diminishes it. I think that'll tie together nicely, make it look really classy. So it's a lot of mitering here, but it takes some time. I've come to appreciate the fact that mitering all this stuff and cutting all these bits and pieces does take some time. It gives you the opportunity of screwing up stock, but if you're going to do it and you want to try it, try it. And the worst you do is you mess up some wood and you get more wood. You make little pieces out of big pieces, and sooner or later you get it right, or you use a lot of caulk to fill the cracks and paint it. Either works, either looks pretty good. So this is where we are at this point. We've siliconed the joint in between the backsplash and the vanity top, and I've wiped that up while it was wet. When I did this piece underneath here, um, this is all siliconed in place, and I'm not as happy with just siliconing it together because it's harder to clean up the joints, and the joint has this rubberiness to it if you get into the crack a little bit, whereas with the epoxy it's rigid and it's hard, and it's, I think, much easier to keep clean. But when you get to this joint here, the silicone's the only way to go. That's what everybody uses, and I think it works very well for what we're doing. So we've got that, and we're pretty far along. One thing I just want to point out, we've got 2 electrical outlets here. Obviously we have plenty of room on the top here for putting stuff. These electrical outlets are GFI protected. The GFI is right down here. So it's accessible, and just the way the wiring worked, we came in there, went from there to there to there, and that's that. So this is ready to go. This is another faucet that we got on eBay. This was kind of interesting because this is a Price Pfister faucet, and they sell apparently their older stock on eBay. So it's a nice faucet. It seems to work well. I have no issues with it. It's about a model year 2000 faucet. So it's like a program car faucet is what it is. It was $70, which I thought was a pretty good deal, and it was exactly the look we wanted. Notice I got some grout on there. I've been cleaning stuff in the sink I shouldn't clean. But you can clean a lot of things right now because we got to go take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Hey, we're back, and one other thing upstairs. This room, I think, is going to be the room that gets finished last, with one exception. I did close in the ceiling, the chimney. The chimney comes up right here. I use steel studs and our gypsumite to close it in. We're supposed to have, with chimneys, 2-inch clearance to combustibles. That's very hard to get in old houses, very hard to get in new houses, and most people do not do it. So I did use steel studs just because I figured it saves a little bit. So downstairs we did that. Up here we did it as well, and put the gypsumite over it. There was a hole in the floor here where we had heating ducts coming up at one point, so we had to frame that out again, close it in so we have a little bit more usable space. Obviously I still have to cut some sheetrock in around here, which I'm really looking forward to, but more taping and odds and ends. We will get to this room, but this room is not a priority. One thing I did want to point out in the process of painting, because we have so many different things we're painting at once, and I'm doing a lot of this at the same time. I'll paint one room, then I'll go to another room, get this one coat on one room, go to the next room, put a coat on, then go back, put the second coat, and that process can get a little messy if you only have one tray, which is what I started out with, this one paint tray. So I picked up a bunch of these disposable paint tray liners. These are like 60 cents. And this one actually has clear urethane in it for the ceilings. You can't really see it because it's clear. But I've used this I've got 3 of these going for the 2 colors we were doing, and the ceiling, the clear. And it works very well. And then I have a couple of rollers. And what I do, I don't know if I have it in here or not. No, that's a garbage bag. But let me go get one and show you. It's a trick with a garbage bag. And this is the trick. I take a garbage bag, and look what I did. I put this in here a week ago. The paint is still wet. The paint in the tray is still wet. Put that back. Carefully close up this garbage bag again. So what I have in here is the liner and the roller from the paint. And if I need to go back and do something, which I don't think I do, put that there. It will be ready. I've done the same thing over here with the clear. This is the clear for the ceiling. I took the roller off and I put it in the thing it came in, and that's still wet too. You can see that's the water-based urethane, and all I've done here is roll it in like that, because the core on these rollers is plastic. It's not paper like it used to be. If you did this with a paper roller, like a tube, for a paper towel roll or something, the moisture would get to it. It would obviously soften. These do not. So you can actually, and that's what painters do a lot of times. They save them as they're doing a project. I did that. I haven't touched those in almost a week, and they're still ready to go. So it kind of saves some money because they're not inexpensive. They're several bucks each. And of course, even these tray liners, if they have paint on them, you let the paint dry and then you can reuse them. And it allows you to multitask. That's what it allows you to do. And we all need to multitask sometime in our lives. Downstairs, there's one more thing we need to look at. We're back downstairs in the kitchen again, and I think you already had a glimpse of this, but I just thought I'd show it to you in a little more detail. We've got a washer hookup here, and this washer hookup you may have seen in some home centers is just a box, and it's drippy a little bit because I just got some water out of it a little while ago for tiling. And we got our washer hookup here. We flip the lever to turn it on and off. The drain hook's in here, and you can see it's been taped, and we just pop the cover in, or the trim, excuse me, around it, and it looks like a picture when it's done. I do have to take that off because I still have to paint, but what's fun about this came from our friends at Zurn, the folks that did all the radiant floor stuff and the PEX tubing. They make this as well. And so that's all plumbed in. It's all contained now. Instead of having everything hanging out on the wall, the plumbing is in the wall and is very discreet. Wasn't hard to do. We had just the thread-on connections for the water, and we've solvent welded the PVC pipe in. We will be hooking up the drains soon, so we'll take a look at those as well. What was the other thing? There was a thing in the other room. What was it? Let's go take a look. Well, one last thing that has greeted me. There was snow today, and when I came into the building, we haven't had a lot of precip lately, I noticed something around all three doors, and that's this. We have ice and water shield here. You see this black area? That's wetness. And we have water leaking in here. And it's excuse me, along the whole atrium door. The other two doors have it to a lesser degree, but this one has it more. And what it is when I set the doors, I overlooked something. Oh, you say that's hard to believe, Tom. You would overlook something, but I did. And that is, when you set a door like this, you're supposed to bed it in silicone caulk. You're supposed to smush the living daylights out of this with silicone caulk. Set it in, slide it in, clean up the mess you made as you squished it around. I did not do that. So I went and caulked on the inside and I caulked on the outside, but I've got to go back. There's little holes there. I am kind of amazed that we have moisture coming in under this was not a driving rainstorm, this is a snowstorm. But apparently there was enough something happening that we've got moisture coming in here. So we're going to go back over this. As a matter of fact, we had a wet spot out into here. Now this is the other nice thing about using the Advantech decking. This is very tolerant of water, and it's of course seen it for almost a year now as we've been doing things to this house, but now that it's getting closed up, we need to make sure this is not going to be an issue, because at some point there'll be a hardwood floor here, and then the hardwood covers the water that might leak in a crack here, and then we don't know about it till the floor starts to get kind of spongy. The Advantech is not like regular OSB, which is why I'm gluing the tile right down on it. It will not delaminate with a little bit of exposure to moisture the way OSB does. So that's a good thing. The ice and water shield is protecting us. It's nice and dry underneath the ice and water shield. It's just a wonderful product. You should always have it at this position whenever you're setting a window or a door at the bottom area. This is probably one of the most critical moisture issues you can be doing in a house. So we did that right. But at some point in the process, and I know for this particular door, part of the process was we were having a hard time getting it in, so the silicone didn't happen. We can go back and retrofit it on the outside, which I have done it. We're going to go over it again. I probably did it on a really cold day in the autumn when I was, thinking of it. We'll go over and make sure that it's done right. We might even drill some pilot holes and try to inject some silicone in. It's a lot easier to do it right the first time. That's why I'm mentioning it to you now, to remind you I will not forget next time, because I don't want to deal with this again. This is a real pain in the neck. Could be a real bad situation. And when you're replacing a door in your old house or your new house you're putting a door in, make sure the ice and water shield's here and the silicone is in between this part here and the ice and water shield. So this doesn't happen, because if you're replacing a door, many times there's a floor already over this. You ain't gonna see it till it's too late. So a lot of silicone, a tube of silicone is about $350. A couple of tubes of silicone buys you a lot of forgiveness. So we need to make sure that we do these things right. It's an easy thing to do. I just thought I'd point out I made a boo-boo, and I'm paying for it now, and I can't put the floor down until we solve it. And we will solve it, because this is hot and cold, and that's the kind of thing we do around here. We solve the screw-ups that we perpetuate. And you can too. That's what we're here for, to show you that it isn't that hard to do it right the first time, and if you can't do it right the first time, we'll get it right the second time. If that don't work, we'll do it right the third time. Anyway, we got to go. We'll see you. If you have any questions, give us a call on the radio. We'd love to chat with you. Take care now. Production support for Hot and Cold is brought to you by American Solar Technics, manufacturers of components for wood burning and solar heating systems.